Hey friends, welcome back to another video. My name is Emma Lefebvre, and today I'm going to show you how to paint these simple poppies perfect for beginners. Okay, so today I am going to paint a close-up poppy similar to one of the calming paint with me videos that I did. I'm just going to do it a little bit bigger and just do one. And I'm going to kind of talk you through it. But the exercise that's going to go along with this is learning how to use a nice light wash. And I think this is a really good exercise, especially for beginners, because when you're a beginner, I feel like sometimes you could add too much paint to your wash, and it's just, we work a little bit heavy-handed like we're working with acrylics. But with watercolor, the beauty of it is that the more water you add, the lighter the value you can get, and then the more paint you add, the darker value you can get, and you can kind of play around and get these really cool like wet on wet bleeds and all that stuff. So we're going to kind of play around with that today. Okay, so I'm just going to wet my brush. I'm using my 3/4 inch, it says mop, but it's like an oval wash brush. It's almost kind of like a filbert brush, but it's really great for poppies. So I'll wet my brush and I'm just going to put it in this mixture here, which is like, I think I add permanent rose and then some cadmium yellow to make this peachy color, okay? So it's pretty light. I'm going to add more water to it. And because I'm working larger, I'm doing a larger flower, it's okay that I have a bunch of water on my brush. If I was working smaller, I would definitely, tap my brush on my paper towel to take off some of that excess water, so I'm not creating puddles in my flower. But I'll kind of just show you. Okay, so I'm just going to use this brush and we're going to create some strokes. It's going to be kind of like on an angle. So we have the longer petals over here, and then I'm going to start to curve it like this, and then curve it in like so. Okay, and this is a fairly light wash, and you want to learn how to work with a light wash because you can get some really cool effects this way. And I actually want to leave quite a decent amount of white space in the middle for the center. I'm just going to turn my brush upside down to get shorter petals on this side. Okay, I'm actually not doing it as big as I thought I was going to do it, so I'll probably do another one. Like so. We have a pretty decent amount of white space in the middle here. And there's a hair. And there's a hair. Can I pick this up? Can I pick it up? Can I pick it up? There we go. Got it. Okay. So I'm just going to go over it and just continue to wet it just so it's all the same amount of wetness. And I'll just show you because there's a little bit of pooling here. And that's okay. We're going to fix that because when we add in our darker color, we don't want the darker color just to sit in that little puddle. Okay, so I'm just going to take some of that color off my brush. And if you tilt your paper, see all that water moving? Okay, we want to kind of mop some of it off. So dry your brush a bit and just kind of go over the whole thing again just to pick up some of that that puddle. Okay, now we're going to go back in with some darker colors. I'm just going to grab a bit more pink, a bit more yellow, bit more pink. Oops, wrong pink. And I'm just going to just start dropping it in. And I'm just using my brush kind of like on an angle. And I'm just creating these darker lines. So we're doing wet on wet, and it's just going to create a really nice effect. And I'm making sure that these lines are also curving with the petals, okay? Because if they are just straight, it's going to look weird. I'm just going to blend some of them out again. I dried my brush off on my paper, and I'm just blending some out. Okay, we're going to do some sharper lines after when we do wet on dry. But right now I'm just doing a little bit like this. Okay, you can even at the tip of some of these. Like so. Okay, so there's one. Let's do another one right here just because we have the room. Okay, so again, there's more water on my brush. I'm just going to take a little bit of that color. And we're going to do one that's like facing away so we can see the bottom of this, I guess. Yeah. I had to think about it for a second, actually. Sorry, we're going down like this. And we're going to kind of all curve them in. I've been really loving poppies lately. Okay, so we have a nice light wash. I'm just picking up some of that extra water there. Okay, then I'm going to go back in with more color. And I'm just going to kind of drop it in. A bit more pink, I feel like. Doing these like little lines curving to where the stem is going to come out of. You can have some at the top there. Like that. And then if you want to just blend it out, you can just dry off your brush a bit and just kind of go over and just blend out those lines just a bit. Okay, I'm going to grab my size 6 brush while this is still wet, and I'm going to add a stem at the bottom. Now, because I'm using a smaller brush, I can use a bit more water, but if you're ever in doubt of how much water you're using, you can always just tap it on your paper towel just to get rid of a little bit of it. And I'm going to touch the bottom of this and then drag it down. I'm just using some sap green in my size 6 brush. Okay, I want a little bit of a color bleed there. And then I'm dragging away. If we drag towards, when we lift up our brush, more color will explode right there and it might overpower it. So just keep that in mind. Okay, there's that. I'm gonna grab a bit of darker green just to add a little bit of shadow or something, just going down one side of the stem like that. And then I think I'm going to do the stem of this one. So the stem would be coming right through where the stamen is, so you're going to kind of visualize where it goes. Oops, and I'll drop some water. Okay, and I'm just going to go like this. It's going to be coming down, touch down here. It would be going behind, touch down here. I'm just going to carefully try not to touch the other flower because I don't really want a bleed here. Like that. Going to grab my darker green again. Just go along one side. A bit more under here because it might be casting a bit of a shadow. Just down along the side like so. Like that. Okay, so there's that. You could always do, let's do just like a stem of one that hasn't kind of bloomed yet. So I'm just going to go like this. Just to kind of use some space over here. We can just do like a little bulb that hasn't really bloomed yet. I feel like that stem is really thick, but that's okay. Okay, you could always do another one. Let's do another one back there just to make the composition look a little bit more balanced. I'm going to have this one come up and then behind. This is not what I was planning. I was planning on just doing a big poppy, one single one, but you know what? We're just going with it. Seeing where it takes us. Like that, and I'm going to grab my darker green. Place it at the bottom here and along the side. Okay, now we're going to do the center of this poppy. Yeah, it's pretty dry. Okay, so I'm going to grab a light... Actually, I'm going to grab some of my yellow. Mix it with a little bit of the green, and we're just gonna do like a circle over here. Like so. I actually want it a little bit more yellowy. And then I'm gonna grab some darker green and just put it around one side, just to give it a bit of a shadow. Make it stand out a little bit. Okay. And then I'm just going to wait a minute just because I really want the petals to be dry before I do the yellow bits and a bit more detail on the petals. So I'm going to come right back once it's dry. Okay, so now that it's dry, I'm going to take my size 2 brush and I'm going to do some lines along the petals. So I'm just grabbing a light wash. Okay, you can dab it on there just in case. And I'm just going to start by bringing down some lines really lightly, again curving with the shape of the petals. You can do some coming up, and I don't do lines that go from the top to the bottom. Some, they all kind of go halfway, and then some will kind of come up halfway. You can hear my son being a Pokemon or something downstairs right now, of course, and my husband's shushing him. Oh, the lovely sounds of my house. Okay, and we're just doing this for a little bit of texture. Some of it can be wavy, just to give it a bit of movement. Okay, you don't want it too dark. Just gonna blend out some of them just a bit. So I have some thin lines, some thicker lines. Debating whether to kind of cut this off and make it look like it's folded up. No. Thought I'd try it for a second, didn't like it. Okay, it's fine. I'm just gonna continue some of my lines down here. Sometimes you just gotta try some things like that. Okay, and then I'm gonna do this one. So they're gonna be coming up from the base here and curving. And just take your time and just have fun with it. Like so. Okay. And then lastly, actually, hold on. I'm just going to do a little bit darker at the base here. Little bit. Oops, too dark. Just like there's a bit of a shadow. Like that. Okay. Now, lastly, I am going to do the center of that one poppy. So I'm just going to grab some lemon yellow for the lines and then a bit more cadmium yellow for the dots. And I'm just going to do these really light lines. A little bit shorter on this side because of the perspective. And then I'm going to grab my cadmium yellow and I'm just going to do a bunch of dots. Now I feel like it's kind of getting a little bit lost in the color, so I might add some white after. I'm going to let it dry first and then I'll add some, actually, let me just think. Gonna add a little bit of this peach to some of the lines. See if that works. Nah, not really. Okay. I'm gonna let that dry and then I will figure out a solution. Okay, my solution is Dr. P.H. Martin's Bleed Proof White Bead Proof. Okay, I'm gonna take some of this. It's a pretty thick paint and just add water. And I'm gonna mix it with a bit of yellow to get this like more opaque, really light color like that. And then I'm just gonna, just so it stands out a bit more. And I'm just doing these little kind of dots that are all over the place here. And I can grab just yellow on its own, a little bit of lemon yellow. It's kind of in between. Might grab a bit more, some lines. And then where there's more of like a white area, I'm gonna grab my peach color and do some lines like that. And then I think I'm going to add a little bit of white to my green here. A little bit of yellow too. And just kind of like that. Maybe a bit of white there. And there we go. There are our simple poppies. Thank you all so much for watching my video. I really hope you liked it and I hope you learned something. Don't forget to subscribe to this channel and follow me on Instagram for even more. Have a great day, guys. Bye.